Hey everyone, this is Nick O'Malley here with MassLive.com, checking in not at Soldier Field, which is where the Patriots are playing this weekend, but we do have Andrew Callahan out in Chicago reporting from the game, and we're going to bring him on in a sec to preview this afternoon's game between the Patriots and Bears, the Patriots Week 7 game. They're coming off that big win last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're going to look to try and continue it against a Bears team that's been kind of up and down this year. They played some really good defense, but they played a really weird game last week in which they lost to the Miami Dolphins. The Patriots are favored in this game. I think last I checked, they were favored by 3.5 on the road, so 6.5 on a neutral field. However, that is before the news that the Patriots will not have the services of Rob Gronkowski this afternoon. The team announced this morning that Gronkowski was downgraded to out, which is a big blow to the Patriots. And to help us bring down that big chip, Andrew Callahan, bringing him on here in a sec to deal with the loss of Gronk and what that means for the offense. We saw last week the Patriots kind of operate without him for most of the game, but when the game was on the line, they really ended up kind of sticking to Gronk on those on that final drive in those last couple minutes, where they kind of, after so many plays where they were looking other ways on offense, they just really stuck to the Gronk downfield. There he is.
There he is.
Good. How are things out in Chicago?
Good. How are things out in Chicago?
Things are good. They look a little bit shadowy here, but I promise they're bright. It's a fantastic morning. A little bit chilly here in the Windy City, but great day and great weather for football.
All right, so injury news. We got news that Gronk is not playing, and we got a question whether Edelman is playing.
Yeah, Edelman should be good to go. We asked him about this on Friday. You know, he's on the injury report with a heel. That's new. He said it feels good. And we saw him making his typical warm-ups. He's making one-handed catches out there on the surf. And I think, you know, when you play on grass, it's a little bit different, obviously, than the turf that they have back at Gillette Stadium. But, you know, he looks to be ready to go.
What do you think the Patriots' offense is going to do without Gronkowski today?
You know, I think it'll show up most in different situations, you know, critical situations, namely third down and in the red zone, where defenses have really been drawn to Gronkowski, which frees up one-on-one matchups for other players. So overall, honestly, I don't think it'll be too different, namely because Dwayne Allen's been so good in the run game. You know, when you look at tape of how the Patriots handled Khalil Mack, who was a big storyline and a big matchup this week, Dwayne Allen handled Khalil Mack on his own in a couple of different run plays. So they feel secure about Allen's place there and able to hold the edge or kick out different outside linebackers. In the passing game, obviously, he doesn't command the same attention. So where does Brady go on third down? Where does he go in the red zone? We should have some new answers.
So you're saying that the Bears will not be double-teaming Dwayne Allen in the red zone?
Yes, that is correct. Dwayne Allen would see probably 0 defenders before 2.
Do you think this means that we're going to get more Josh Gordon today?
You know, a lot of people have started to wonder whether this will be his breakout game, and I think that's totally fair. Now, you know, breakout game could either come by one big play. You know, we've seen him take slants in the past and zip 70 yards for a touchdown, or, of course, haul in a long ball. Against the Chiefs, he had that long defensive pass interference, which, if not for the penalty, would have been an easy touchdown. He had beat his man down the sideline. I think it's unlikely you see him beat Prince Amukamara or Kyle Fuller. Fuller in particular, who's been very good against deep balls this season. Amukamara is a serviceable veteran, but he's hurt this week. I think it's more likely that, you know, he racks up about 8 catches, maybe gets 1 touch, and then breaks it. So I think you should see more Josh Gordon today. He was the most targeted receiver for the Patriots against the Chiefs, only caught 5 balls. But, you know, especially without Gronkowski, they're going to lean on him today. How much he comes up in terms of yardage and touchdowns is up to him.
With Gronk out, do you think it's going to be a big factor that the Patriots have someone that strikes fear into defenses like Gordon?
Yeah, I think it's big because, you know, you just add a different element to this offense, which obviously wasn't there weeks 1 through 3, right? You know, you had Chris Hogan and Philip Dorsett, who you talk about them and you say, okay, what are their greatest skill sets? You got that speed, and presumably that speed would threaten defenses downfield. Really didn't, because they just couldn't separate from man coverage. Now you look at a guy like Gordon who has the same deep speed that threatens you both theoretically and actually on the field, and he can do different things intermediate. So, you know, it's a combination of having Julian Edelman back. Sony Michel has been a bigger threat in the run game. I think it helps them because defenses have to respect what you want to do up front there and also over the top.
Big game from Sony today?
I would say no, just because the Bears have the top-ranked run defense, by a couple of different metrics. But whatever you look at, they really stout up front. I think Akeem Hicks could be a problem from there. You wrote about him this week. We just got flipped around there. But I wouldn't lean on him if you're someone who's starting Sony in fantasy. You can never go wrong because you could get one touchdown here or there. But I think between the running backs, James White stands for a big game here today.
It's cold in New England. What are things like in Chicago right now?
Well, when I walked outside my hotel, it was 29 degrees.
Oh,
so I think that should tell you about all you need to know. But it was a crisp 29 degrees. There was actually very little wind. I think that will change a little bit today. But in terms of the forecast, you could take what we last saw from them on Sunday, and it's basically going to be the same. High 40s, maybe low 50s, intermediate winds of about 10 miles an hour going out to the southwest. But overall, clear, no precipitation. It should be, like I said, a great day for
We're talking a lot about the Patriots' offense. How do you think their defense matches up against the Bears today?
Sure. I think their defense is in for some trouble. And, especially early, I think Matt Nagy has done an outstanding job game planning so far for Mitch Trubisky. A lot early in these games, he's finding wide open throws. Their concepts are similar to what Kansas City ran. Offensive coordinator Mark Helfrich was in Oregon, another tempo RPO system. So they're just slow at the second level. The Patriots have been able to compensate for that by playing a lot more defensive backs and having some smart defensive plays that we saw in the first half against Kansas City. But when you look at that second half, I think a lot of what the Chicago will do are things that Kansas City trotted out there, putting defenders in conflict, extending plays with Trubisky, who, if he gets out this pocket, can take off himself as Mahomes could, but also launch the ball deep. He's not as accurate as Mahomes. He's certainly not as refined as Mahomes, but, they've seen what Kansas City tried and had success with. They can take elements of that and then put their own spin on it. And you've just got guys in space, too. Tariq Cohen, a running back, who they'll split out wide. Only plays about half the snaps, but is super dangerous. Anthony Miller, slot receiver, very good. Allen Robinson is hobbled. He's on the outside. Just a lot of different guys, and you haven't even gotten to mention Taylor Gabriel, who for me I think is probably going to have the biggest day out of all the Bears here today.
And do you think the Patriots' pass rush is going to show some signs of life after kind of getting blanked last week?
It's difficult to say because I think like with Mahomes and Blake Bortles and Deshaun Watson and basically every quarterback they've seen this year, it's a matter more of containment, right? So it's not going to show up in the stat sheet that the Patriots had 5 sacks today because honestly, they want to suffocate the pocket, force you into a bad decision, and just basically not allow you to escape. Because they know over time, Mitch Trubisky is not going to hurt them as much, making steady, tough throws from closing pockets than he will escaping them. So if you force him to kind of, exceed down after down on the more difficult situations, that's what they're aiming for. Of course, they'll take a sack if they can get it, but I would be surprised if they get more than 2 sacks here.
All right, I had the Patriots winning today. Who'd you pick today?
Yeah, I got the Patriots 31-27. I think it'll be a comeback victory. They're still looking for that first road win. I think the Bears, like I just talked about, Matt Nagy, really, really good job at scheming receivers open, getting people, in space for Mr. Trubisky to find. I think they do that, probably have a halftime lead, but when you get Brady just in those empty sets and he's got weapons now to throw to, unlike we saw early in the season, he'll pick the Bears defense apart, and I think that's what gets the job done here in Chicago.
All right, make sure to check out Andrew later on today as we continue the Patriots coverage and get ready for kickoff at 1 p.m.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
Andrew.
See you guys.